And we're the Saska Sisters. And this is Indie Horror Junkies. Indie Horror Junkies.
Indie Horror Junkie.
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 We're a panic attack.
And this is Indie Horror Junkies.
Indie Horror Junkies.
Indie Horror Junkies. Indie Horror Junkies.
It's the Indie Horror Junkie Podcast, your source for anything and everything indie horror. Here's your host, Otis B. Dreads. All right, it is 8 o'clock. Do you know where your indie horror is at? It's right here. Look, it's right here. And that's so much hair. You can't even see my shirt. Represent today. Indie Horror Junkie Podcast. I am Otis B. Dreads. Of course, we have Rotting Ricky D. Riding Shotgun. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. And yourself?
I'm doing real good. You better be on your best behavior tonight, because our guest, Betty Genesis and Alistair Graves, are here. And they put on a little burlesque show, horror show.
Horrorlesque
show that involves women killing. I don't know if this is strictly a male thing. We'll get to all the answers here in just a minute, but let's take care of some housekeeping. Of course, we have the new issue number 9 of the Indie Horror Junkie magazine coming up May 13th. Now that's going to every other month, where it used to be once every 3 months, right?
No, it's been always every other month.
It's been every other month. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, at some point, very, very
just
soon.
Too excited, and it seemed like such a long time that I had to wait for a new issue. But
yeah, at some time very soon, we'll be monthly.
Okay, very soon. Well, you're not going to want to miss it. IndieHorrorJunkie.com, as you see scrolling across the bottom, is where you can get your magazine, the physical copy, so you can read it on the commode like cavemen. Put your phone down and read a magazine.
That's right. The manly way.
Yeah, the manly way. And then is the digital? We're still offering the digital version as well.
That's right.
If you must have your phone and not the physical copy in hand, then you can still read it on your phone. For the phone crappers.
For the phone crappers. Wow, you said it. I didn't say that.
I gave them I gave everyone who poops with their phone a new name. You're the phone crapper.
There you go. Now we covered everybody now.
Everybody's covered.
Yeah.
May 13th. And I believe this is the issue with Mr. Peter Anthony's movie, Laugh, on the cover.
Yep. No, that was the previous one.
That was the previous one. I can't keep up.
Issue number 8 was Peter Anthony. This one's got Wendy Feliciano and Kevin Kedgley, who are special makeup effects and prop masters. They did like a really horrorlesque, I want to say horrorlesque, I'm already saying horrorlesque, a horror-related Mad Max type photo shoot just for the cover. So it's an exclusive cover from them. And then it's jam-packed, probably our biggest issue, with all kinds of news about all the upcoming horror films that we're really excited about. And it's a good looking issue. I think everybody's going to be really happy with it.
Yeah, I think everybody will be, and you know what else people can get happy about, especially filmmakers. They can get happy about, well, for one, you got a sneak preview of the first annual Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival. You seen we had a great response, and if you'd like to get in on some of that action, well, you can head over. You'll see the link pop up right down here at the bottom of the screen. Submissions, early bird submissions are now open for next year. You're going to have to mark your calendar. When, Otis? When? Well, let me tell you, Friday, February 7th through Sunday, February 9th. This is again at MegaCon. Had a great turnout. Over 250,000 people passed through the doors at MegaCon. Your film's going to get seen. There was a lot of great submissions last year, and we only expect the same, if not better, this year. Great turnout. You can go, as you see it right there, Indie Horror Junkie Filmfest.com. We'll take you where you need to go if you need to submit a film. There it is. I don't know what else more to say about it. It was a great time. As you've seen, all the great people, the Saska sisters. I mean, it's awesome. Great people. Wendy and Kevin, as just mentioned, Wendy and Kevin, who are gracing this issue's cover. They were hanging out with us. It's a great time. So get your film, just shorts or feature. Doesn't matter. Either or both if you want.
Yep. And then also we have the Indie Horror Junkie.
I'm sorry?
I was saying Indie Horror Junkies now got into the distribution business. So we're going to be distributing the upcoming Nightmare Collection Volume 2, which is coming out. We're going to have it for release here shortly. You'll be able to buy your copies through IndieHorrorJunkie.com. We'll also bring copies with us for any of our many appearances that we're going to be doing. We also have Part 3, which is actually going into production later this summer. And as a little bonus, for the Nightmare Collection, we have a very special, and I don't have a picture of it to show you here, but I'll have a picture next week. But we have the VHS version of the Nightmare Collection, which is going to be a collectible item. We are actually going to have a couple of those items at the event that we're going to be talking about today.
That's awesome. For our younger viewers, do you want to explain what a VHS is?
Yeah, VHS is one of those black disc things that you used to stick into the machine that nobody owns anymore to play movies on tape, and you couldn't, and you fast forwarding was a real joke, and that's back when we used to have blockbusters, which were my childhood, and you know that was So in other words, it's nostalgia. It's for your dad, your dad's dad.
Yeah. If you're anything like Rick and myself, you're gonna want to get your hands on a hard copy of some nostalgia. Now, you had mentioned you're going to be attending an event with our guest, and if my little description earlier of what what's going on at these shows wasn't enough, allow me to bring on Miss Betty Genesis. Welcome. And I didn't mean to interrupt your bartending.
Cheers.
Cheers. Betty Genesis. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Cheers.
Cheers. I have to cheers my
Here's to barbed wire and G-strings. They both protect the property without obstructing the view. Cheers.
Got to put that on a poster.
I want it on my headstone.
Oh, that is great. I love starting off with some humor. That's awesome. So how you guys doing? I got you guys' website right here. I didn't forget about that. Let me make sure I get the right one. Bam, there we go. Deathbecomesthem.com is where you can learn about, get all the details of the show that kind of Rick alluded to. You guys got something coming up next Saturday, the 27th, I believe, is next Saturday.
Yes.
Did you see our faces,
you're
Betty?
You're a little nervous, I think, Betty, just from our little conversation before we went live. How you feeling? You excited? No doubt.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's funny. You would think this is not the first Death Becomes Them. This is volume 2. So you would think the nerves would not be so bad, but we set the bar so damn high the first time that the stakes are even higher this time.
Oh, you got a couple people saying hello already.
Yeah.
DJ Palumbo. Hi, Betty.
Here, DJ Palumbo.
Oh, hi, DJ.
Hi, DJ.
And Facebook users. Hi, friends. Hello. Now.
You're incognito.
Yes.
Is it Alistair?
Yes, Alistair Graves.
Like Fred Astaire.
I'm sure. I mean, everybody says Alistair, and that's fine. As long as it's spelled
They say
right.
it wrong.
They say it wrong. That's true.
That's
I
right.
will correct them.
You're the MC, Alistair, right?
Yes, that is true. That is what I do everywhere all the time. I talk.
And I hear Betty speaks highly of you. Says you're pretty good. What's it take to make a good MC, especially at a Horrorlesque show?
Okay, well, here's my thing. I think that everybody goes, "Oh, I can talk," and everybody does talk. But I always compare it to walking into a Sam Ash. If you pick up a drumstick, you can hit a drum. That doesn't make you a drummer. I think a lot of practice. You got to be comfortable talking with other people. And also, nobody, you got to know and read the room and know when it's time to get back off stage and let the actual artists get on. My job is to elevate, not to take away from or distract. And,
that makes perfect sense.
Specifically at a horror, in Horrorlesque, I think you take that one step further. You've got to be part of the show as well. So you have to find your beat, find your rhythm, but I've got to bring out something worth watching too.
Yeah, he's definitely a key component.
And what you just said, the explanation of you being the show host and how you do that, you got to read the room and everything, that reminded me of a quote from a movie called Almost Famous, when they were talking with the band that was going on, where the lead singer was talking about what his job was as a front man, was reading the room and getting the room excited and finding that one guy in the room that's not getting off and finding a way to get him off.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right. That's right. As long as it won't get me arrested, there's not much I won't
Right.
do.
Of course, that would be a hindrance.
Right. I'm way too pretty for jail.
I take a lot of what you said. That people think when I talk about podcasting, and I hear people, I want to start a podcast. It's like, man, you can't hold a conversation with somebody else for more than 5 minutes. I mean, there is a certain art
100%.
to at least entertaining. Now, in this show, we're kind of, we don't go anywhere. We don't MC, we don't get off the stage. But I see you're just out there. You're like that guy at rock shows, like, are you guys ready to rock? Like that guy.
Right. It's a lot to do
away from the main event.
Correct. I hype it up and then I go, now shut up and listen and watch and look.
Shut up and pay attention.
Shut the hell up. You paid $20 to get in this bitch. Now pay attention. Right, exactly.
He does have to kind of get mean sometimes, but
you know what? Yeah. At some of our venues, sometimes you go to really bougie places and then they tell me I'm not allowed to swear and I turn inside out. At other places, we go to great dive bars and then I do have to get a little mean. But as you can see on my name tag here, Queen Daddy, you don't call yourself Queen Daddy and not have the chops to back that up. So
absolutely
true.
I got a quick question for you. Where did the name come from? Death Becomes Him. Because when I first heard it, of course, I thought of the old movie with Goldie Hawn of Death Becomes You. So where did this name come from? What's the meaning behind it all?
Well, normally, yes. I loved Death Becomes Her. And I am a writer. I do love to write. I'm a big history nerd. I'm a researcher. And so for years, I've been compiling all of these stories about women who were basically serial killers. Your Elizabeth Bathory's, your Mary Tudors, Typhoid Mary. And when I started kind of piecing the story together, it's like, well, they all death is their thing. It ties them together. And from a marketing standpoint, as a producer, people, what? Death Becomes Them? Isn't it Death Becomes Her? And then they Google it and they look it up and then they land on my pretty website.
I like that. There you go.
Hey, Betty, how many of those people that you've researched would you say are 100% become murderers because of men? I'm just curious.
Oh, I would say even if they aren't murderers, their story, at least 98% of it's because
of men. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I told you, Rick, we got to be on our best behavior tonight.
I know.
This is definitely a very femme power show.
Well, and Betty, I really think that the whole burlesque art form is very femme empowered, and I think that horror as a genre, the reason that I think they meld so well, horror and burlesque, is because we've evolved politically, and a lot of horror comes from queer minorities and femme minorities, and the oppression felt, and escaping that and discussing that. And so I think when you shove these two genres together, they marry really well. Like, I'm by no means like a man hater, but I am a feminist, and I think that I really love what Betty did with the last show, because you really kind of find out, like, oh, all these people that we like to bust on or reference in history, yeah, it's all dudes. Like, they did it.
Right, and it is definitely from a different angle. We saw, like, Eileen Wuornos. Everybody's familiar with the Charlize Theron movie, and oh gosh, this horrible woman who did these horrible things, and we had to execute her. But I like to tell the other side of the story. What if she hadn't grown up with a lifetime of childhood trauma and abuse and rape?
Yeah.
Maybe things would have been different. Looking at Mary Tudor, maybe she wouldn't have burned so many Protestants at the stake if her dad didn't excommunicate her mother, divorce her, disown her, and ban her lifelong religion.
I got you. I mean, we at Indie Horror Junkie also agree with you as far as that goes. As far as I don't know if I would call us feminists or whatever it is, but we are very pro-female. I mean, one of the things that I like to stress, and my partner Amy Rolfson will bring this up as well, is that, like, we have a thing in each issue where we have the indie horror hottie. Now, of course, when you first see that, the first thing you're thinking is, oh my God, that's just some hot girl or whatever it is that you're putting in it because it's a throwback magazine. But that's not really the case. What we do is we show you a beautiful picture of a girl, no nudity, just, a girl that looks beautiful. But then we explain to you, and we show you an article about her, showing her that she's more than just a pretty face. She's an entrepreneur, a filmmaker, a restaurant owner, a bar owner, whatever the case may be. And just to let you know that these people are beautiful, but yet they're very powerful people in the community as well. And we like to shine a light on that.
Ricky, right, I would say that makes
the pretty face helps, though.
Oh, your pretty face gets you to turn the page. That's for sure.
That's why horror and burlesque go so well together. I mean, boobs and blood go hand in hand.
Right, and Betty, we can't act like sex doesn't sell, and it is absolutely a part of what we do. And Ricky, to your point, you said you don't know if you would count yourself as Indie Horror Junkie as a feminist, but what you just described is feminism. Equality, sexually, empowerment, like that's feminism.
I'm all about empowering feminines. I mean, that's why I picked Amy as my partner and stuff, and we do a lot of that, and I'm proud of it. I have no problem saying that.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Here's a question for you guys. James says, I'm a writer, producer, actor with a horror project, and I know why I love the genre. But what do you guys think others do? And I'll expand on that. Why do you guys like the horror genre? And what got you started in that?
So for me personally, I am a mental health advocate. I'm someone who has survived mental illness, and horror is a coping tool. And there's tons and tons of research coming out now that shows that for people who live with anxiety and depression, horror films can actually be a coping tool for them. I've talked with countless people who have said, I can shut off the world and watch a slasher movie and escape my day-to-day checking and OCD tendencies. So that right there just keeps bringing me back and back and back. Plus the fact that, my very first memories as a kid was watching Freddy and Jason and Michael with my dad when I was like 3. So,
For me, it's fairly similar. You'll see behind me, and this is genuinely just the corner of my bedroom. And I've got, all sorts of stuff, taxidermied bats and Cousin It. But you'll notice that on either side of me are my Universal monsters.
Oh, yeah.
When I was little, and I mean like 2 or 3, I was afraid of my shadow. I was afraid of the dark. I was afraid of everything. And I told my mom and dad, I'm afraid of monsters. And they said, listen, the monsters aren't the bad guys, they're your friends. And so my imaginary friends at 2 and 3 years old were Dracula and Frankenstein and Wolfman, and like those were my buddies. And it grew into a better understanding of, they always say a smart man says that Frankenstein isn't the monster, but a wise man knows that Frankenstein is the monster. You start to get deeper and deeper into these narratives, and you realize that almost all of them are about some form of oppression and about overcoming some form of, societal norms and pressure. So for me, it started at 2 going, I love Dracula, and turned into, I'm 20 and I'm reading Bram Stoker's Dracula and going, this dude was trolling everybody in England by citing real articles and stirring a panic. And then, you go on to Orson Welles did the same thing on the radio. And I love the joke of it's so easy to do that. And, I think it's pretty obvious what my political ideology is because one group doesn't want to murder me because I wear lipstick. But what I will say is whether I'm going there or not, the joke is great for me because it is very, very relevant today to see how easily an entire group of people can be fear-mongered and whipped into a frenzy, like Frankenstein or Dracula or whatever. And I'm going, wait, let's not be afraid of the green monster. Let's look at him. Let's talk to him. Let's see what he thinks. Oh, he's just like us. Okay, cool. So for me, it's very endearing as I don't want to get all mushy and say like a war song, but I feel like I'm just one of my monsters. I feel like, people look at this and either love it or hate it. And I don't want either. Judge me by who I am inside. Let's talk for an hour. And then you can decide how you think about me.
I love that.
That's why I love my horror, because I don't think there's any other genre. Most other genres are, oh, he's big and strong and shoots stuff. And that's awesome. And if you love, I love that. But there's a depth to horror where it's, so much of it is either misunderstood or it's highlighting what I think is just really true evil. Because I think this world sees way too much true evil and sweeps it under the rug because they're wealthy.
Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah, I think on that point, I think that, horror, a lot of horror have, societal undertones to it. So,
for sure.
Societal issues. We've seen that. Night of the Living Dead, had a lot of, undertones there. And if you do that outside of horror, a lot of times, a lot of people wouldn't even know. If you told them they're just watching it, they wouldn't look as deep as what you were, saying,
right,
Alistair.
Right.
But if you put it in another genre, I feel like if it's in a drama where it has societal, undertones, you'd be able to figure it out right away to me. Anyway,
yeah, well, and in the last like 3 or 4 years too, if you put those themes front and center, there's this whole group that just screams, it's woke, cancel it, turn it off, fuck it, don't look at it. And it's amazing because those same people are the ones that are like, oh yeah, but I love Leatherface. And I'm like, that's an entire film about nothing but generational trauma. Like, why, how do you not, but they don't care. They're like, oh, but murder. And I'm like, cool. There's deeper stuff though, but you're
missing
right.
The point.
Right. But Otis, you're right. I feel like if you put it front and center, people don't want to sit through the whole thing and learn. Whereas if it's something that's a little buried, it's amazing how many people, because I do classic burlesque and I do horror, and it is amazing to me when I do classic burlesque and I'm in, bright red lipstick instead, and I'm in rhinestones and pinks and purples and stuff, they go, oh, I don't know that, and pardon me, but it's what they say, oh, that fag, he doesn't know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, first of all, I'm only half. Second of all, you didn't even know me. You don't know. when I do this and it's horror and I go to horror conventions, they're like, oh, that badass vampire dude gets it. The horror community is just willing to look past all this shit, right?
It's probably the most inclusive of all the different fandoms and genres. Like, everybody is welcome at a horror con or film fest, you know.
Which is what Mr. Howard Hawkins was saying here. The horror community is the friendliest community out there, in his opinion.
Yes.
And I've been to a handful of horror cons, and I have to say, in person, it's great. I mean, I feel home. That everybody is so friendly, so welcoming. And yeah, I don't think there's any other community like that, and it even transcends, through the web here, which is how I met that guy, and of course Amy, as he mentioned, and all the junkies, and became a junkie. And speaking of indie horror, do you guys have any favorite indie horror movies? Either that's something that's just came out here recently, or any lower budget type movies that still kind of grabbed you?
I don't know if I have a single favorite, but I am really excited about the Nightmare Collection. I'm hoping to pick up a copy soon. Got to see a little bit of it recently with Rick, actually, at the screening in Ybor City. It's like, okay, I'm liking this. I need to look into some of these directors.
I'm obsessed with films that make no sense, like Rubber. Do you guys remember Rubber?
I never saw it, but I heard so much about it.
You've never seen Rubber, Ricky?
I know.
No, it's bad, but like I don't know. It's or like Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yes, Rutger Hauer.
Like, some of these like really like low budget B films that end up being like the cultiest smash hits of all time. Now, granted, I am biased. I am the assistant director of the Tampa cast of Rocky Horror called Hell on Heels, and I've played Frankenfurter for like years now, for over a decade, well over a decade. And that's just one of those, we have no money, we have no budget, and we're going to make a film that just goes underground immediately. Sort of like, Repo, the Genetic Opera, like some of these become really huge cult hits, but like I'm a sucker for things like Rubber.
Okay, have you seen Llamageddon then?
Yes.
Llamageddon.
Oh yeah. It was actually made. I'm here in Ohio, and it was actually made by some Ohio State film students, if I'm not mistaken. And it was filmed here in Ohio. One of the great gifts to the world Ohio has to give is fucking.
So it's not like Llamas with Hats then.
No, but Llamas with Hats got pretty dark too, Betty. Carl, I love that sort of shit. I mean, I really think like I don't know. I wish that the internet's such a double-edged thing for me, right? Like I feel like there's so much access to Photoshop and to Adobe and Premiere and After Effects, or the free versions thereof, and we can all get these fairly powerful computers for pretty cheap now. And cameras, I mean, you can film more on my phone than I could 10 years ago on a $500 camera. And so, like, I think, like, that's awesome. And it does cause a lot. I think there's a lot of problems with social media, honestly. If it wasn't required for my job, I wouldn't even have it. But it does help me meet new friends like you guys. But on the other hand, I love seeing some, like you said, Ohio State students going, I've got a really shitty idea.
Yeah,
right? Like, it's like Sharknado, but worse. Do you guys want to film it? And then they can just do it.
I wish.
That's the great thing about these film fests.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We may have to have a whole section for the llama subgenre now that I'm hearing about.
Llama subgenre, best llama movie, best of the fast
llama genre.
And I don't know if this is true, but I could have sworn that I heard that those same filmmakers that made Llamageddon was going to do one. I wish I could make this up. Alpocalypse.
I'm in it for just the pun alone, Otis. I'm in that. Let's do
all right.
it.
I'm all about this menagerie we're starting here.
Otis has already pre-ordered the DVD, I'm sure.
I'm surprised do they have Lamageddon on DVD? Come on, our faithful viewers here, please tell me if they have
We need to have a
Lamageddon
watch
on DVD.
party.
I think it's on there in Smell-O-Vision too.
Smell-O-Vision.
Do you that's one of my favorite stories, Smell-O-Vision, Ricky. That reminds me of back when they did the Tingler and they did with Vincent Price, and they did the shitty puppets under people's feet to scare everybody. I wish we still
William
did stuff
Castle.
like that.
He was a filming like that.
Brilliant. Because that movie is the worst
Full
Vincent Price
sensory
movie.
theater.
Yeah,
Right.
they put little shock things in some of the chairs to shock people for the Tingler. Now you'd probably get arrested for something like that, or at least sued.
To be fair, Ricky, I do the Joker, and anybody, you guys can check out my Instagram, agravesmc. I think I've got Joker pics on there, but I've done Joker for a number of years too. I used to work for a charity, and I used to carry the little 12-volt shocker so that when I grab people's hands, it would tingle people. And I heard a story that at Necronomicon many years ago at this point, we're talking 15 years ago here in Tampa, somebody hit somebody with a buzzer and it set off a pacemaker. So now I just do the shitty wind-up ones. So we would get sued for electrocuting people in a theater. Yes, I think so.
Wow. I did not hear that story, but that I can understand that.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, stuff gets wild.
So
It's all fun and games till somebody has to go to the ER.
Till somebody's granddad gets set off, right?
I know, right? I mentioned the 27th next Saturday. You guys, the other three here in the block, you guys, including Rick, are going to be at this big event here at let me get it up here, at Tampa's Brass Mug.
That's right.
It's an iconic metal bar. What bands have played there?
Oh my God.
It's like the CBGBs of Tampa.
It really is. Right. And it's been there for
No Doubt was there back when they were nobody. Green Day when nobody would book them.
Wow, interesting. Okay, yeah.
They just had Green Jelly there a couple weeks ago on their 30th anniversary tour.
Wow, that's great. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say, tell us a little bit about what we can expect when we go there from the people that may be looking it up.
Expect the unexpected. Death Becomes Them is a fully immersive event. So yes, you are going to a hole-in-the-wall dive metal bar. But you're going to be transformed once you cross the threshold. You're actually going to be on our haunted island oasis with all of our dead murderous and martyred ladies. Of course, we've got Queen Daddy's going to be guiding us through the show. We've got 13 performers. We have 2 authors that are actually going to be doing live readings because, we had to throw that out there. And the acts are... I'm still fangirling about some of these cast members. To be honest,
you did a good job, Betty. This one's going to be awesome.
When they approached me, hey, I'd like to submit for your show. I'm like, you want to be in my show? Oh boy.
Well, Betty, when you put on a show that is specifically focused on historic women in power, and it is a macabre sense of empowerment, but it is still empowerment, and I think that resonates with a lot of our friends who, I feel like, especially in Florida, I don't know what it is, but we've got a really good horror scene down here. We've got several horror conventions. I know that I had the privilege of producing a show called Scream Queens, which was Spooky Empire's first drag show on their 20th anniversary. And we were the #1 seated event. So that was stellar. We've got, the support is unreal down here. But I feel like, Betty, when you produce something that speaks that loudly, the next time around, everybody went, oh, well, I want in. And I'm really grateful. For all these, Betty's got some real powerhouses and some real Florida icons that are coming to this thing. And I won't say names, but you're even pulling a couple people out of retirement, Betty. It's big. It's
Whoa.
big. And, no, yeah, for sure.
Hey, well, we can't say names because I did drop their names in the event.
Oh, great. Okay. So my burly mom, Frankie Markstone, who has all but retired, is coming back out of retirement to do a number here. She's a incredibly well-known and I think prolific burlesque producer, performer, sideshow, variety. She's done everything in Florida and is one of the pioneers of modern burlesque here in this state. And so she's going to be there. We've got, I mean, tons of people. The Rogue River, who is the producer of The Graveyard.
Who we've also gotten to work with and is an absolute weird joy.
Yes.
I'm excited because I don't even know exactly what she's going to do. It's probably going to be weird.
Oh, for sure it'll be weird. It'll be hot and weird and a little gay and
I believe her description was sparkly, sapphic, bloody.
Wonderful.
Okay, I'm sold.
As long as we're not talking about Twilight Sparkly, I'm fine. And I know that's ironic coming from me, but even I look more butch than Edward Cullen. So
thank you.
Seriously. Vampires shouldn't sparkle.
No, come on, no.
Unless they're in my show.
No, I you know, that was something else, Alistair, that resonated with me is your love of Dracula. That was always my first favorite monster. Dressed up as Dracula every Halloween for like 6 years straight. What do you want to be, Dracula? No, all right.
Otis, I have a story for you. I'll keep it quick.
Sure.
My mother was kind enough when I was growing up, and I mean like 3, 4, 5 years old, to say, "Well, Alistair, what do you want to wear?" And she would look at my closet. One day in like May, I said, "I want to be Dracula." And she went, "Okay." And she sat me down and put the Halloween makeup on. And this was like in the 90s. So we're talking like clown white and blood trickle down. And I had this baby blonde hair. And she would slick the black makeup into my hair and drew the like Monsters Widow's Peak on. Now I've got my own. And she put me in my little vest and my tuxedo and took me out shopping at like Walmart, Publix, the mall, whatever. And I was just full blown like and I knew even at 4, I was like, well, I need my amulet. Dracula's got I need my amulet. And so and I knew that word, and it like people were like, who the hell is this little kid? And at one point somebody stopped and was like, well, what is his deal? And my mom just went, he's Dracula. What?
Yeah.
And so, problem? Yeah, now my
mom,
my mom had to house sit for me, and she stayed in my room and said, I can't get over all these eyeballs looking at me. And I said, Mom, you did this to me. This is you. You did this. But yeah, no, absolutely. Dracula's always been my favorite. I think followed closely by Phantom and then Invisible Man. But like, yeah, Dracula's my number. I mean, this figure alone is a 90s sideshow. I've been trying to find all these guys, and it took me forever. I'm missing 3. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Dracula's the guy, dude. Bela Lugosi was untouched, man. I could.
I got him on my hand. I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's
because
good game too, especially on a hand. That's beautiful.
Oh.
All right. So and now Rick, you're gonna be there as well at this event at the
Amy too.
Yeah, and there's going to be a handful of vendors, so there'll be, we open the doors about an hour before we start the show. Unless you're a VIP, they actually get to enter at 6 with our pinups. Right. And there's a local jewelry maker, so she makes kind of gothic, spooky jewelry. We have a plant vendor, not plants that you can smoke, but cute things you can take home. Then, of course, we're going to have the Indie Horror Junkie table there. We've even got a sweets vendor because, if you're drinking, you're at a show, you kind of get a little hungry. We don't want you to leave and miss anything. So you can just go to the back of the bar and get your cookies and keep on partying.
You've also got a pinup contest, and we've got a full night of entertainment, including, I think we're up to what? You said 13 entertainers, Betty?
Yeah, so we have 13 acts. And in the middle of there is a Miss Freaky Tiki pinup contest. So it's a pinup contest, pretty ladies in their outfits, but it's a little twist because, we had to make it horror.
Oh no, we had to make it horror.
I was just going to say that. Well, good. Yeah. And if you need a judge for the pinup contest, I'm always available. Just let me know.
I will keep that in mind for Death Becomes Them 3.
Oh.
There you go.
Listen to you already. I hope I get to host again. It's been an honestly, unironically, it has been a huge pleasure getting to work with Betty Genesis. The shows that she puts on, the caliber is unmatched. It's not only just horror, but it's rare when you meet somebody who understands the ideals of both femininity and empowerment for everyone, and also can put on something so attractive to the horror crowd. She's the whole package, and I'm gloating, but she's everything we need. And
it's my OCD skills put to good use, channeling.
Well, we're proud to be a sponsor, proud to be involved, and proud to help you spread the word. So we're very excited. And when we heard you were going to be with us, Alistair, as well, and I remembered you from Tampa Picture Show, what a great show you put on. Couldn't be more excited for it. Really couldn't.
And honestly, I can't see Death Becomes Them without Alistair, because again, people think, oh, they can just be an MC. I've MC'd, I'll be honest. I don't like it. Like it's not something I would aspire to do, because it is a lot harder. You do have to kind of have control. And as I say, I have to use my mom voice sometimes. There are times where Alistair has had to kind of reel in an audience, and not everybody can do that and do it nicely and to where it's cordial and funny, but they also know, like, hey, we're not taking any shit from you. You're going to respect these people.
Right.
It is because I am bringing in an element of charisma too. You seem to be a very charismatic person, Alistair. So I don't think you have any problem pulling that off.
Well, I appreciate that, Otis. No, there is a really nice tightrope that one has to walk when one is hosting, especially a rowdy crowd, because I don't want you to think I'm being an asshole, and I don't want you to hate me. But also, I'm in charge. Shut the fuck up. We're doing a show. So, like, there's like a really nice tight, But I think I've been hosting. I don't like to do the math. I don't like to say it, but like 15 years I've been doing
a while
at minimum. So like it's something that, and I don't do any stripping. The last time I stripped, somebody went running about the beacons of Gondor being lit. So I don't do it anymore. I talk. But yeah, no, I think it is just as much a craft as everything else. So
but you're a cunning linguist. So
I am a cunning linguist, and smarter men have bigger diction.
All right.
Yeah,
I see what you did there.
Wordplay.
I was reading on the website. It says a little description of what's going on here, and there's two words that popped out to me that I must know about. It says, you're guided through the stories of murderous women whose souls are now trapped on the island by the even more mysterious, and here comes the two words, Pineapple Pope. What in the bloody hell is the Pineapple Pope? I must know.
So I don't want to ruin the whole show, but we do have a twist. Our cast is not all female. We have the Pontiff coming to join us. Not the one from Rome. This is the Pontiff from Disgraceland.
From Disgraceland, I like that.
Disgraceland, yes. Kind of a little twist in this particular show, is like I said earlier, you're going to be transported to this haunted island. Like literally, we're transforming the bar into an island, and kind of playing on the whole murder mystery vibe as Alistair is guiding us through this journey on this island, and we're encountering all of these undead murderous. Why are they here? Well, the Pineapple Pope has been trapping all their souls here, and we have no idea why. He's clearly an evil dude, but he has a great drink menu that I'm super excited about. And we're going to find out what in the world is this dude collecting these souls for.
I do want to add, Betty, that I'm over here cackling, and I feel bad because it's not to undercut anything that you've done, but the person that plays the Pineapple Pope is a very close friend of mine. I consider him family at this point. I've known him for many, many years. This is not a stage persona he's come up with for just this show. He has introduced himself as the Pineapple Pope for many years, and wears. You can see it on some of the promotions. He wears a skull and a full pontiff's like bishop hat that's made of pineapple leaves, and like he's the coolest dude ever in his entire house. I've been to many a pool party. His pool is lined in black, and he calls it the Lac Noir because it's the Black Lagoon, and his entire house is themed as Tiki Creature, the Black Lagoon. The whole house. He is like the real deal.
It is amazing.
That's dedication.
Oh yeah, no, you guys would get along with him famously. He's just like us, except he's very tiki. So yeah, no, it's going to be something. I think this might be the Pineapple Pope's first like stage venture, but
I think this is his debut. But yeah, this character is just so amazing. I'm like, we got to bring you on stage. Like,
I agree.
We got to bring the Pope in.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And it fits because we got freaky tiki going on here.
Well, and Lord knows I'm not doing anything in a bathing suit, so it's good that we've got him. I don't do
Rick, will you be having yourself a drink at the tiki bar and get?
I was going to say they had me at the drink menu. I mean,
I know.
I was good to go. I mean,
Pineapple Popes,
as far as I'm concerned, when they get there that day, I may be sitting outside waiting. So yeah.
When you go to the Pineapple Pope's house parties as a person, he actually does legitimately make a drink menu for every party that includes more than 6 cocktails every time. He's insane. He's like one of my best friends.
I haven't even met this guy, and I love him.
He's wonderful. So I can't wait for you to meet him, Ricky. When the night of the show, I'll introduce you.
Yes, definitely.
Please do. That'll be fun. We need to get pictures.
God, I'm glad I quit drinking when I did, or I'd be dead at one of these things.
That's right.
And because we do have a lot of sober friends that are coming, so we actually have an NA menu for them as well.
That's right. Full mocktail menu is coming.
We are including everybody. Nobody gets left out. So, maybe somebody's a designated driver.
Toss me an energy drink and send me on my way. I'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Otis will be the DD.
I feel
designated driver.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I can't wait. I mean, everything that I've learned about it and how nice you guys have been. And like I said, my experiences with Alistair before, it's like I was told Amy about it. I said, we got to get involved and be a part of it. And when I reached out to you, it just seemed like a perfect match. So we're really excited about it and just can't wait for it to get here.
Well, I'll meet that with one. I'm trying to figure out now how I get involved in your indie film festivals, because if you need a talker, I'm your guy. I'm here. I'm ready. Put me in.
Well, the next one is in February at MegaCon. So I mean, I'm not sure when you're possibly planning Volume 3 for The Death Becomes Them, but I mean, if it's going to be something like around there, that would be a perfect little opportunity to bring a couple of you out there. We did the same thing with last year. Remember, Otis? We had Phantasmagoria there because they run a show over there. So we had them come in. They did they did a dance and stuff for us and basically promote their show. I would love to do the same thing for you guys. Bring you guys in, give you guys 5 minutes, come up there and do your thing.
I'm great at putting together shows. Queen Daddy is great at running the shows, and I've actually been trying to toy with how can we take Death Becomes Them on the road beyond the brass mug. So,
well, there you go. So you heard it here first, Otis. That's it. They're going to be involved. We'll figure it out.
Ricky, awesome. Now I know that Otis is in Ohio. I've actually got my partner of 6 years. She's from Ohio, and I've got lots of family in Ohio. It is a wild place that everybody says you need to watch out for Ohio, and then I'm like, I'm from Tampa, Florida. Nothing that you do in Ohio can scare me, and it's true. So far, I've not been scared. But Ricky, you said you're local? You're in Florida?
Well, yeah, I live in Newport Richey, but I'm local. I'm very local to Tampa. We do a lot of our filming and everything. I grew up in Tampa. I actually was born in New York but moved here.
Okay, well, you need to come and see me at the Graveyard as well. The Graveyard is a show we do every other Sunday in Ybor City at the Speakeasy Lounge. And I host. It's named after me. It's produced by one of Betty's performers coming up in Death Becomes Them. But come see me.
I definitely will. We did some filming
other Sunday night. Yeah,
we did some filming in the Castle. I'm sure you're familiar with the Castle. We actually shot a movie called The West of Darkness there.
Hosting a kink event called Taboo. So yeah, I love the Castle.
Yeah, I love the Castle. We filmed most of my movie there. We had our rap party there. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Castle and that whole environment. And Speakeasy, I was telling you before that I went to the original Speakeasy. That was the small one that was above that restaurant. And you had to go up there and pull the book from the bookshelf to open the door. So that's where I was the first time. So when I went with you, Betty, for the event the other day, that was the first time that I was at the new one.
Okay, yeah. And I said there's something every night of the week. I'm there almost every other Sunday night though for the Graveyard. It's one of the best residencies.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Betty. No, it's true, and you're there all the time, and I really love you for that. But yeah, no, it's a variety show. Almost always there's some burlesque we do, but oftentimes we have also different vaudeville things going on, so that's wonderful too. Definitely, whenever you get the chance, it's every other Sunday. So, and let me get this right, this upcoming Sunday and then you can just
Yes.
every other. Thank you, Betty. I need a personal
I know the
assistant, but I
schedule.
can't afford one.
I definitely will check that out eventually for sure. And Otis is in Ohio, yes, but Otis will be moving down here very, very soon.
Permanently,
Hey,
Otis? Are you
welcome.
moving forever?
Yeah, that's the plan. Just have to, get a few more ducks in a row. I don't even
I
know
hear
where
you.
my damn ducks are. I think they're drunk pigeons.
If you can
at this
get them in the
point. I
same
don't know where
pond,
they are.
that's okay. Just
Right.
get them in the same pond. That's the start, okay?
I've lost half of them, so I'm hoping that half my ducks will work.
Well, when you move down here, Otis, let us all know. And we'll have to go take you on our merry little haunted tour of Florida.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of places. So
Speaking of the tours, is this something like what you were talking about, Betty? That event that's the Moonlight at the graveyard?
So it's a new event.
Okay.
Just actually was at the second monthly event. It's the Community Moonlit Market. And it is held in a cemetery here in Tampa.
Yes.
And they have partnered, Rose Hill Memorial Gardens partnered with the Spookeasy Ghost Tours. So you have the Spookeasy Lounge, and then they also have another company, a sister company that does ghost tours with like the EMF readers and the goggles and stuff. And because Ebor's completely haunted. But for every second Saturday of the month, instead of the tour being there in Ybor, folks actually are invited to come out to the cemetery, and the guides actually take them through the cemetery. They get a little bit of a tour, because there are some historic graves there. They learn about the people that are buried there. And then they get some time to kind of wander on their own with the equipment and see if they see or hear or feel anything. And of course, there's also entertainment. There's a market with lots of local vendors, which are all spooky themed, everything from art to jewelry to food trucks.
Very cool. Yeah, that's something I definitely want to check out, and maybe even become a vendor there at one point with Indie Horror Junkie.
Yeah,
that'd be
so I
cool.
was saying I would love to have Indie Horror come out with me one month. We set a tent up and talk
That's
to people
perfect,
and let them
Matt.
know.
Yeah.
It's a date.
It's the date. Again, something else you heard right here. Facebook user, I'm guessing this is directed towards Betty. Do you need any jazz singers?
Well, the show is cast, but I'm always looking at new people. So definitely feel free to send a video or your headshot to thebettygenesis@gmail.com. I'm more than glad to check it out and pass it around to other producers.
Awesome.
Yeah, our little environment certainly grows all of the time. So if this is something that you want to pursue, my suggestion is always, yes, pursue it. Talk to us, reach out to people, get involved, because
I tell people go to shows. Just come to a show.
Yes.
Introduce yourself to the MC, the producers, meet other performers. Get into the community, and it is Tampa has a really great burlesque community with traditional and horror. I like to say often, I don't compete with my community because each of us has our own little pocket, but we all work together. A lot of producers will guest in each other's shows, and there's always encouragement for new performers.
Absolutely.
That's what I found is really prevalent in the indie horror community. Is that of course you're always going to have that one bad apple here and there, but
and that's in every industry, of course.
Yeah, it's in every industry, and but in a whole, I think that it's far less from my experience. I've had nothing but good experience, but you do see that people helping others out. Because this pond's big enough for all of us. Come on in,
Absolutely.
we can all enjoy making art.
It's super welcoming. Even my daughter has recently started doing some work with film, and she did her first. It was a horror short, and then they introduced her to someone else, and then there's a sci-fi, and it just kind of like dominoes from there. And everybody looks out for each other. Even on set, it was really great to see the parents that were there, like helping out and looking out. And even after the day is done and the shooting's done, everybody's still checking in with each other. And you don't see that in a lot of other genres.
No, you don't. Yeah.
You know, to that point, Betty, when I did, when we announced Spooky Empire, announced that we were doing the first drag show at Spooky Empire, not a lot. Everybody was really excited, but there, like Otis said, were a few bad apples. And you know what? Even when you can't stop that in the horror community, what we found was I, as a producer, didn't even have to touch the hate speech, because before I even could, the forerunners of the convention, along with just people who were attending, descended on these people and were like, no, then don't come. Then don't come. If you don't want this, then don't come. And it was really, I have found less judgment at horror conventions and around horror fans than I have in churches. It is insane how, but you know, horror is my mecca anyway, so fine.
Yeah. That's awesome.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, what do you have any long-term plans in the works, Betty? Anything between now or the show coming up next Saturday and, let's say, I don't know, the next Nightmare volume?
I hope sleeping.
Yeah, now I might be all like caffeined up now, but from like April 28th until like May 2nd, I will be in a coma. At least 3 days to recover. Sure. Coming up, I'm actually taking a little bit of time off from producing because I am also working with Necronomicon Tampa, which is a really fun. It's a small con, but it's a great con community. Super excited to work with them on bringing them a little more horror this year and doing some fun stuff. And
that was my very first convention, Betty, was Necronomicon. When I was like 13 or 14, that was like my very first con. I think
it's really become my favorite of all the different conventions because it is super small. And I totally selfish on my part. The whole place becomes basically a wet hotel for the weekend, and I go without the kids, and it's like my vacation.
Nice. I went to Necronomicon. We actually, I'm not sure if they're doing it still, but they used to have film festivals there. And one of my films, Mirror, Mirror, A Tale of Blood, was a short film. It actually won the Audience Choice Award there. And I loved Necronomicon. Like you said, it was a small convention, but it just, the way they laid it out, the way everything was done or whatever it is, it was such a cool environment. It's such a cool feeling. I loved it.
Necro is mini but mighty for sure.
Yes, totally agree.
Betty, do I have your permission to shamelessly plug my May 4th show? Is that okay?
I think you absolutely should. I mean,
okay, thank you.
I've got it on my calendar, so I guess that is something I'm doing.
So in Dunedin on May the 4th, I am producing along with my partner Leela Bell Quaintrell. We are producing the third or fourth installment now of my love and craft, which is Vintage Variety. And Vintage Variety is a 1920s to 30s inspired variety act. We are already confirmed. We have 3-time Guinness Book of World Record holding sword swallowing juggler Bill Berry. I have Nerdy Noah, who's going to juggle tasers. I have a burlesque performer, Cherry Von Top, who is closing our show in a giant acrylic martini glass and doing a full burlesque number in there. We have Oriana, who is a belly dancer who has been flown to Cairo to teach belly dance in Egypt. So it is the biggest Real Deal show that I produce, and it is May the 4th at the Woodwright Brewery. You can look up Woodwright Brewery, or you can check my Facebook for that information, but we would love to see you. Tickets are crazy limited. It only seats about 90. It's going to be very intimate, a very wonderful time, but I would love to see anybody and everybody come out to that as well. But that's after you come see us at Death Becomes Them. God, every time Otis has
maybe they can get their tickets at Death Becomes Them. I wonder if there's like a way we could
I will reach out because I'm hands off on tickets. I let that be the venue owner for people. But I can reach out to him and see how many. Yeah, you know what? Okay, fine. I'll call and see what I can do. Every time Otis has said it's this upcoming for Death Becomes Them and how close it is, I've gone, huh? Okay, but but it is coming up soon. So come see us at the Brass Bog. You
people. And then I do have. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go
I have
ahead.
one thing coming up in June. The only event that I am doing in June is actually, it's a very small, again, very limited event. I think there's only 25 tickets available, but it is called Phantom Safari, and it is an art show at a haunted B&B here in Tampa called the Phantom History House. So that one, I'm working with artist Jillian Simmons, who's actually going to be doing a lot of body paint installations throughout the house. And, it's a haunted house. So of course it's like, well, can I have a scavenger hunt? And can we do this? And they're like, okay. And they just let me loose. So not going to be necessarily a stage show, but it's definitely going to be another immersive little adventure. And I'll be putting that up on the website soon.
I'm making these faces at her because I haven't heard about this yet, and that sounds awesome.
That does sound great. I love the immersive experiences because in my first experience with that was at a movie theater that I used to work at probably about 35 plus years ago. And they did a midnight showing every like Friday or Saturday night of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and they would have the actors and actresses down at the front. Yeah, exactly. That it reminded me of it when you mentioned it the first time. Yeah, and I thought that was great. Well, I mean, honestly, at the time, I didn't think it was great because I was a fucking usher, so I was cleaning up the mess after everybody.
Dude, there is
So I wasn't
nothing
too
worse
happy
than
about that.
working a theater with Rocky at it is the worst. Going to Rocky or performing in Rocky, that's the best. But working it, no, you're absolutely right. It sucks.
No, it was horrible. I did get to stand back there and at least observe it, but not the full immersive experience.
I was the assistant general manager for a theater that actually I was also the cast that performed there, so I had to juggle both. And when I was doing the show, it was awesome. And then when I had to stay until 4:30 in the morning and clean it all up, I was pissed. So I get it.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, guys, awesome. Thank you so much for coming out and letting everybody know about all the incredible experiences they've got lined up. I can't wait to see you guys on Saturday the 27th. It's going to be so much fun. We'll be out there with T-shirts, magazines, all that good stuff, and I can't wait to enjoy some of the cocktails that will be free-flowing. So anything else you guys want to say in closing?
Thanks for listening.
See you at the mug. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you. And if you guys want to just hang out for a few minutes, we're going to close the show up real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll see you after the show, okay?
Wonderful. Thank you for having us. I love you all. Goodbye.
Take care.
Thank you, guys. Wow, I got to get to one of these horror
You'll be here soon enough, brother, when you come down.
I know.
They'll be tagging you along to every place.
I know. And see, they just solidified my whole arguing point of moving down to Florida. The horror scene is amazing down there. There's a lot of good things coming out.
And a lot of good people.
Of filmmaking, I guess, in a whole, but more specifically, horror. And that's that's the main thing. So in closing, let's not forget, as we mentioned at the beginning, if you joined us late, the issue 9 of the Indie Horror Junkie magazine will be available May 13th.
May 13th.
May 13th. And again, if you would like to be a part of the 2nd annual Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival, if you're not a stranger to this podcast, you have seen our intro and you have seen all the wonderful people that you will probably see again and all the damn fun we had. We had great films. We had great people. And of course, indie horror. What more could you ask for? Get your early bird submissions, shorts, full lengths. Get them over there, IndieHorrorJunkieFilmFest.com. And I want to thank you guys. I want to thank everyone in the chat. We had a nice crowd. I'm sure it had nothing to do with our 2 mugs.
Oh, hell no.
I'm quite positive of that. As always, it's always our guests that bring the crowds in. That's okay. That's fine. That's what it's all about. Well, Rick, you sent me a funny little picture and told me to look closely at the marquee. What did that marquee say?
It said, "See you next Wednesday."